This Hummer EV has one of the worst paint protection film jobs I have seen through the shop in a very long while. And unfortunately, this is a trend I've been starting to see as there is a race to the bottom in terms of pricing for paint protection film installs. I'm going to walk you through, show you all the issues with the job done on here, because the unfortunate thing is most people are getting paint protection film to actually protect their paint. Meanwhile here, this is actually making it look a whole heck of a lot worse. So Mr. Connor joins me here. We've got this Hummer EV in this week, dude, for some serious testing. And you actually texted me yesterday and saying, this is one of the worst film jobs I've ever seen. You
Not even one of the worst. This is the worst.
I've actually seen worse than this. Like pretty, maybe not worse, but like on par bad with this. It's pretty crazy.
So yeah, I don't even know where to start with how bad this is, but any paint protection film, full body paint protection film, even poor quality, has to start at thousands of dollars.
Yes, and this race to the bottom we're seeing now, I've been talking with a lot of film installers, specifically here in Colorado. We're starting to see this come up, and we're also starting to see this also with companies like Tesla as well as Rivian offering paint protection film through XPEL at a very discounted rate. For example, you can get a full stealth PPF on an R1S for about 5,000 bucks. Okay. Which is very cheap.
Okay. And we're unsure what film is on this vehicle.
Have no idea.
This is more about the installation quality than the actual film you're choosing.
Exactly. But this brings up a few points. So there's two main ways to do PPF. There is bulk wrapping, which this has done. Basically meaning you take a huge sheet of paint protection film, slap it on the panel, hand cut around it. There are pros and cons to doing that. The cons being you can have a very botched job like this, probably cut into the paint underneath, but there are times where you actually need to do some bulk wrapping to get edges really tucked. You can do this also with the software in terms of a pre-cut kit. Pre-cut kits are great because you're not cutting on the actual car, but when you have to start extending those edges, you may actually have to get a knife on the vehicle and cut it. Now, the big issue I have, if somebody is going to do a botched job like this, the likelihood that they are actually cutting the paint very high, unfortunately.
Especially with this quality. What I can't imagine is wanting to start a career or even get a job in protecting vehicle paint, and regardless of money, producing a job as poor as this right here. Let's show everyone that first, and then we'll talk a little bit more. The first glaring thing that I noticed when I picked this car up, Colton, was this edge right here.
Yeah.
First of all, it's not even close to the edge of the paint, and you can see it's completely lifted and filled with dirt. Then I looked this way, and I saw, holy smokes, they forgot to PPF this whole area. And then I started to notice around here where they literally didn't even try to tuck it underneath this edge. And then you go, well, if you're not protecting all of it, why are you protecting some of it? And you look at how they did the mirrors, like this is a piece, this is a piece, this is a piece, and it just goes on and on.
Oh my gosh, that is literally...
It's like 4 pieces just to do the one mirror.
Oh my gosh, look at the seams here too. That is abysmal. That's terrible.
There's some other real egregious ones. We can look literally on any panel and you'll find issues. I mean, we can just point to ones. But dude, this blows my mind over here. So this is all painted all down in here. Look at this PPF, dude. How the heck did they cut it this far up and thought, job well done. I feel good about getting paid for this work.
I know exactly what happened here. Okay. So this is an area they had to stretch into, and you can see there is literally a glue line where they had to lift it up. They probably went in here and tried to get this in. It wasn't staying, so they cut it short so that it wouldn't peel, but it also already peeled. And every single place you look on this, it is an issue.
It's terrible. This edge doesn't match up. Dude, if I had a vehicle that was PPF'd like this, I wouldn't even just ask for a refund. I would ask for them to buy the car back from me because there's some real problems with this. And I've had a few of my cars PPF now. And the issue is when you're cutting in these areas, there's a huge risk of working the knife, not just in the edges between the panel gaps, but actually on the paint. Yep. And there are experts with a light touch that I believe can cut on paint. Properly.
Sure, 100%. So it should be noted when you're actually cutting PPF, you shouldn't be cutting it, you are scoring it. Very big distinction there. You are putting such a light amount of pressure on there, but the perfect amount of pressure so that that PPF can actually peel away essentially. But like even here, they didn't even bother going into wrapping the edges, and then you get all these jagged edges. I guarantee this looks to me like they've used edge prep on here, and you can see it started to peel back. I guarantee if you pull this PPF off, you are going to have some major issues. This is a matte painted vehicle, which in my impression, if you're getting a matte painted vehicle, you should probably put PPF on because it can be an absolute disaster.
Yes.
But this is the issue you run into when you start going to a shop that doesn't have a great reputation or that is doing jobs at a very cheap rate. Now, I understand this as a business owner. You need to be competitive in the market. You look around here in Colorado, there are many, many different PPF shops, but the level of quality of install is very, very different throughout. I mean, even back here, Kyle, I want to come back here to this area. Look how they have done this with the emblems. So they have taken these off, they put some little 3M strips here, and it's not even on.
Oh, it's just like tacked on there, dude.
Same over here. Yeah, like you can literally see spaces. This should all be perfectly, this is one of the most botched jobs I've ever seen. Look at this whole edge here, as I'm gonna open this whole thing up.
Oh my God, dude. You could just, oh, the door's coming all the way back here, but that is so bad. And you know, this is someone's pride and joy. This is a over $100,000 Hummer EV that, you know, it's a used vehicle, but at the end of the day, someone paid good money with their full intention to protect this car. And the problem is with all of the edge promoter and adhesive that they have on here, if you start pulling the PPF, which is what I would do if I bought one, if I bought this car, I would pull the PPF, you might pull paint.
You definitely can. You definitely can. And then on the topic of that, edge promoter is really annoying to get off. Then you could go into actually damaging the paint.
And you can't just repaint one panel on a matte car.
They are a pain in the butt to match. This is also one hilarious thing you pointed out, and this to me just said, okay, this is a super botched job. What is the area that you interact with most with your vehicle?
All right, so if you're a woman or if you're a guy that wears rings, I mean, I guess women could also not wear rings. She's laughing at me. Okay. You get what I'm saying. If you wear rings, regardless of your gender, this is not a statement. This is just me talking. If you've got if you're wearing rings, you're going to put your hands back here and you're going to scratch the barrel of the door. Guess what? That they didn't even PPF. When you go to like a dealership and you ask for like the level 1 protection PPF, it's like they do a door edge seam, they do the inner things here, and then they maybe do a door sill. This doesn't even have the areas that get hit the most.
That's pretty crazy. And I know why they did that. They didn't want to start taking panels off, but like you could put a seam in there and actually put a door cup. But by the way that they've done butt joints like that, I don't think they even close to have the skill to do it.
I can't get over this right here. This just drives me totally insane.
I think that I'm actually okay with a little bit more than not doing door cups and then having edges peel like this. Now, I do also want to bring up, edges will peel over time eventually, even if you have the best installer. I mean, the best installer will have edges lift. It is just one of the natural things with PPF. This thing is not that old though. This is a 2024.
Yeah, this has to be PPF no more than 2 years.
No more than. And almost every single edge is completely just blown out here. I mean, dude, the more I look at this, the more I just can't believe what kind of like all the knife marks in here. Oh, this one's not even close. There is a full, it is insane. And every single edge, dude.
It's unbelievable how bad it is. Look at this right here along the hood line here, dude. Look, they like wet, then jagged cut right there.
And then this, look at this little edge here is actually folded over. Oh my gosh.
How can you go home regardless of anything and say, that's a job well done, I feel good about my life?
I don't know. And this is something I've unfortunately been seeing with customers. You know, let's be honest, PPF is not cheap to install. You have a lot of cost in terms of your actual material. You have very highly skilled labor. You have to send people to training. They have to really evolve that. And then you get to the point of, I now need to run a business. So I need to lower my prices so I get more volume. We can make this
and go
thing work
quickly.
Exactly. And this is the kind of issues you run into. So I've had a lot of customers that have recently just bought brand new cars. They take it into a reputable shop because they've seen, you know, some famous person take their car there, which probably got a free job done on it. And the work that I see is not quite as bad as this all the time, but lots of issues and errors like this. I mean, it is insane. The more I walk around this, Kyle, look at this edge here. I don't even know if you've seen this one also.
What I can't figure out is what was the original intent of this PPF starting, because you would want to protect all painted surfaces, regardless matte or gloss. However, this already was matte, so they put matte PPF over the matte as well. So it wasn't to get a matte finish, but then they left all the other black painted areas untouched.
Yeah, like the whole front bumper here is not done.
So clearly, whoever had this vehicle, cost was a factor initially. Otherwise, you would PPF everything. You would do matte PPF on this and gloss PPF on this. And then you go to the quality of the work, and it's like, man, really bad.
Yeah.
So how would you, first of all, when would you recommend a customer of yours to go with paint protection film versus going with maybe something that another, you know, just protecting the raw paint?
Yeah, maybe doing nothing or ceramic coatings. I think it's down to how much do rock chips actually annoy you? If you are somebody who looks at a car and goes, I hate rock chips, then put PPF on it.
But you also have to go, I hate rock chips enough to pay for the best possible PPF job.
Exactly.
Because if you do a mediocre job, this is worse than rock chips.
I totally agree. And this is one of my issues with paint protection film, is it is really down to the install, and there are few and far between amazing installers versus terrible installers.
And we just had one of the best installers that I know, Eric, from Drive Protected, come and did my Model S.
Yeah, and he did an amazing job on it.
He really did a great job. I mean, I can go around my Model S and there's one area on the mirror maybe that he had to do 2 pieces because it was like a stealth colored whatever.
It's crazy hard to scratch it over that.
But dude, the car is perfect. That was amazing. That's also such an expensive install. And we went hardcore with it because Eric's awesome. I also think it's like, if you have a mass-produced vehicle that you're only going to keep for a few years and you're going to trade it in, having PPF or not will not affect the resale value of the vehicle.
Zero difference. And that's one thing that I always have the conversation with, and that's one of my biggest issues with PPF. Because if you're going to do it right and do the whole damn car. Don't skip and do
a half hood.
No.
That drives me crazy.
I agree. Yeah. And then you get into the issue, everybody says their PPF doesn't yellow. That is complete crap. It does over time. So, you know, so let's say you do the front end, you could have some edges start to peel. It's going to start to turn yellow. Just do the whole thing at that time. But for a really good job, you should be spending anywhere between $8,000 to $12,000, depending on the car. You know,
I mean, I think like when we start getting into 911s, Astons, you know, rare, nice vehicles that are going to be on the road for a long time, that have collector value, you know, stuff that you'd sell to an enthusiast group, PPF can massively improve the value of the car.
Absolutely.
If you have 2 GT3s next to each other and one of them was PPF'd before it was even delivered to the customer versus one that's been teared up, all good. If you have another car that's had the shit kicked out of it and then you PPF over it, it really makes no difference at that point.
I agree. Yeah, because honestly, PPFing over rock chips makes an air pocket, makes it look worse. It's pretty wild. Yeah. So I completely agree. It's the same conversation that I have with many of my customers. It's like, listen, I understand this is a $100,000 vehicle. I totally get that. But it's an everyday car. Are you going to keep this for 10, 15, 20 years?
No one buying one of these is going to do that.
No. And I have the same thing with, you know, Tesla customers or Kia customers back there. They spend $50,000 on a car and then go put $8,000 worth of PPF on it. And then they trade it in 3 years. And I'm like, that math doesn't add up.
Right. You could drive that thing through a gravel field and you'd still be ahead.
Yeah. The funny thing, and I think this is interesting, you and I both watch George Silva a lot. He trades cars. It's really interesting because when somebody's trading their car in, you know, they may say it has PPF. Great, the car is worth this. Then on the flip side, when they go to sell that car, now it's a selling feature. This car has full PPF on it. And now we can charge a little bit more.
Right.
And I think that's something that most people don't think about. They think, okay, I am putting PPF on here. The value is going to be more. All you're doing is saving it for the next customer that's eventually going to own the car.
And again, I'm actually way more pro PPF than you are, but I'm way more find a great shop, find a good film, and replace it every 5 to 7 years.
I totally agree with that.
Do not think that that's going to stay on there for 10 or 15 years. That is a removable and replaceable item. That is a sacrificial layer. The problem is you use edge promoter, you start cutting on paint. Now you're making irreparable damage to the car that totally ruins the value. And you've got this ugly ass PPF job. This is really about as bad as it gets, Coleton.
I completely agree, and it's really sad to see work like this because I think it just makes everybody in the industry look bad. I feel the same with, you know, people doing one-stage polishes and doing terrible work on it.
Yeah, and if you ever see someone ceramic coating a car in the sun outside, you go,
that,
what the
and like
heck?
I've seen black trucks roll through and they've got ceramic coating high spots everywhere. It's just a bad look. For me, I don't understand, being how I am, being so particular about vehicles, how this could ever leave a shop like that is really a shame. To me, it's just a money grab. There is so much money in PPF, and I think that's what most customers don't understand. The markup you have on cost of film versus the amount of labor you charge is pretty tremendous. Like genuinely on a $9,000 job, I'm gonna bet at most you have $1,300 to $1,400 worth of actual material in there.
So how would you recommend, just to kind of finalize this, how would you recommend one of our viewers to find a good PPF spot? I still believe that if you have a brand new car, that is the one opportunity you do get to protect it with paint protection film.
I agree.
You can always pull it off later if it's done well. And so I don't think there's a downside other than cost, but for a lot of people, cost doesn't matter, and that's kind of what this channel is almost about. This is a very luxury side of cars.
Agreed.
So I mean, if you're gonna spend the money, if you're gonna protect the car, you get peace of mind. I kind of subscribe to that theory. If I'm buying a brand new car that I'm gonna keep, that is worth something, I don't know even how to go find a good PPF spot. Do you join Obsessed Garage Facebook group? Do you call you? Do you find, what do you do?
It's a hard one because the Instagram versus reality is one of the biggest things ever. We have shops here in Colorado that, I'm not kidding, I've seen work come back from them, and they are, you know, one of the most hyped brands. They work on, you know, supercar after supercar after supercar, and they just did a customer's Model 3 that came in for some other work, and I was like, you guys are seriously putting this out? That is the hard thing. And I get a lot of calls from people like, hey, I'm in New York, I'm in Florida, I'm in LA. How do I find a shop? I honestly can't tell you one specific way other than go look at the facility, go see what it looks like. Is it a super high-end shop? Do they have trash everywhere? Is it a dirty facility? What kind of cars are they working on? It's not always 100% it's going to be a good install, but maybe you can ask to see cars that they're working on, cars that they've completed, and look for areas like this. And if you're starting to see stuff like this and hack job marks like that, I would run as far away as possible as you possibly can.
Totally agree. And I think there's probably a helpful thing we should look into, which is almost having like approved or recommended shops in different areas.
I agree, but it's so, again, it's literally to the point of you need to go to that shop, look at an install, look at it a year later and see what it looks like. I've seen jobs that look good day number one, a car comes back later and you have all the edges peeling like that.
Wow.
It's sad.
It's really tough. So, yep. Don't know what to say other than I really feel sorry for the owner of this car, and I hope whoever did this install is no longer in the business, because we genuinely don't know who did it. We don't know what film it is. We just saw this car and I called Coleton and I was like, dude, this is the most insane thing I've ever seen.
It's crazy. I mean, even standing 6 feet back, dude, every single edge is just such a hack job, and it's a shame because this is a cool vehicle. So instead of us continuing to ramble on about this really poor job, I think we'll end it off here. Thanks so much for watching. We'll see you in another one soon. Bye-bye.